part 2. Johnson, here at Right in Early Teens with Sister, says her nightmare began when her parents separated when she was just 8 years old. Doubts are now being raised over the veracity of the claim she canceled a press conference and dropped the suit. News that the rape claims have been dropped will dismay Hillary supporters who had hoped the allegations would be the knockout blow for Trump's election campaign, already rocked in recent weeks by a string of sex assault claims. Since the lawsuit first emerged, thousands of loyal Hillary followers had opened a discussion about the rape claims on Twitter and other social networks, hoping to damage Trump's push for the White House. The Huffington Post jumped on the bandwagon of anti-Trump sentiment after she made her claims, asking, Donald Trump is accused of raping a 13-year-old. Why haven't the media covered it? But DailyMail.com has learned that she dropped the case against Trump, leading to speculation that Johnson's story may have been a fabrication. DailyMail.com is aware of Johnson's real identity, but has chosen not to name her, as she requested anonymity to discuss her claims. Kind of hard to when you look like, well, maybe not so, you look like every frigging ex-meth head you've ever seen. And if the thing she's been through, other than the lie about Donald Trump raping her, he's cringy, but I doubt he's a rapist. Stupid. She neither requested nor was she offered any compensations to tell her talk about her claims, unless she's involved in some type of fucking legal shit, or she got busted for something and they don't, she makes a deal with the devil. Like I said, he's not my favorite person in the world. But when you accuse something like this, you better have fucking proof. And you better have more than the next drug addict. Sorry. Being one, I don't take it fucking personal. And they don't know if she was given money to do this. They don't know. Just because she didn't have any offers on paper. She claimed her motivation to tell her story was to expose Donald Trump to stop him from becoming president. We would have a rapist in the White House. I would feel horrified every single day if I stayed in this country, she said in dramatic terms. Johnson said her experiences in the summer of 1994 still haunt her today. There's a lot of shit that I did in my early teenage years, putting my ignorant ass self in situations I had no business being in, and barely escaped by the skin of my teeth. And one time, I didn't even do anything wrong. I was just walking home from school, and some guy threw me in a fucking van. So I know these things happen. But how about you lied about your age to go to the party on the island? And then you found out it wasn't to your liking. This is a bunch of bullshit. As much as I try to forget about everything that happened, it always affects everything in my life. From the looks of it, chickie, you were already fucked up before you got on the airplane, because according to you, you're 13 years old in New York by yourself. You're already tricking. This is bullshit. I don't think I ever had a successful relationship, one that I can trust that person. There's always that mistrust. More than likely, Because when you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. And I've got a couple in my fucking closet I can show you. This is bullshit. Sometimes little girls bite off more than they can chew, too. She also said that in 1994, she had no idea who her attacker was, and it was only when she had watched The Apprentice that she came to believe it was Trump, claiming she could not forget her attacker's face. Think about that. As arrogant and narcissistic and egocentric, all those things. You think he's got to attack little girls to get laid? He's not that pissed off. I've never seen him that pissed off. I've seen Podesta pissed off. I've seen Clinton pissed off. I could see them doing rape. I just can't. And I'm so tired of hearing this shit. Just grab her by the pussy. What he said was these broads are so fucking easy because they're fame whores that if you're famous, they'll let you do anything, even grab them by the pussy. So if you want to fucking get real about it. You just don't like it that Donald Trump tells you the fucking truth. DailyMail.com learned she has 2 DUIs and a felony drug possession on her record and a history of drug abuse. Now, I'm not going to even... That's pretty much neutral, because if she experienced this horrible situation, then she maybe does drugs, because she's still tricking. She was tricking before she got on the airplane. Okay? I can understand why she would do them, because more than anything, she hates herself for doing what she did. Because she knows deep down inside, you don't blame the rabid dog for being a rabid dog. I'm not calling Donald Trump a rabid dog. I'm talking about Epstein and the rest of them. I guarantee you there's lots of people that went to that island that didn't rape little girls. And those of you who practice sex magic or know about it, you know exactly what I'm talking about if you've seen Epstein's Island. Okay? So, I'll leave it at that one. Bunch of hypocrites. Hailing Satan, knowing how the game is played, but you want to pick out one person out of all the fucking cesspool of Washington. You pick the one guy that's not a politician to be pissed off at. Ain't that a kick in the head? You actually support corruption. That's called witchcraft. That's called spelling. To blame the guy that was never in any position to make policy for the policy of the people you fucking voted for, who spit in your face, who emptied their porta potty buses during the campaign on your roads, and who walked all over you and called you racist, homophobic, Islamophobic, as they step by step dismantled your country. You called the greatest interactive experience a hoax. That's pathetic. And I'm not real concerned if this pisses a few people off, because I've about had my fill of this happy horse shit. She also said, okay, regardless of the truth of her claim, she clearly has a troubled past, and told DailyMail.com that she believes her experience as a young girl led to those troubles. The former real estate worker said recent spinal surgery has meant she's unable to work and claims disability welfare. In lurid claims, Johnson in court papers, she claims Trump took her virginity, forced her into role-play sex, and alleges that he and financier Epstein treated her as a sex slave during a horrific summer in 1994. Johnson also alleges she was sexually abused by Epstein himself, a convicted pedophile, that I believe, on 2 different occasions during the same summer. Attorney Lisa Bloom, handler, suddenly canceled a press conference with Katie Johnson on Wednesday and now is dropping the case. When the suit was filed in April, Trump's legal team branded the allegations disgusting at the highest level, a hoax, and clearly framed to solicit media attention or perhaps simply politically motivated. Now, if you would like to go through the court documents together, we can do that. Epstein counted Bill Clinton among his chums, and the former president spent time aboard the convicted Lolita Express airplane. Clinton took 26 trips aboard Epstein's Boeing 727 jet. Johnson claimed she was forced to perform sex acts on Epstein through threats of violence to her and her family. That I believe. She told DailyMail.com about how she first came to jump on a Greyhound bus from a small town of Oklahoma to New York in a bid to pursue her dream of becoming a model. She was just 13. Her nightmare began, she says, when her parents separated when she was just 8 and her mother moved them to Washington State, one of the highest human trafficking states in the nation. I've seen more little girls turned out in Oregon and Washington just walking back and forth to go to school. All of a sudden you see them on the fucking corner. But what do I know? I've seen so many little girls taken up to the camps, migrant camps, where they pick fruit in these fucking barracks that are falling down. And when that little girl, actually in my lifetime, I have talked to and seen and got a safe place for 3 of them 20 years ago. That's how I know this shit happens. She was taken to the migrant camps and she was forced to have sex with at least 50 men at $5 a pop. No pun intended. These filthy, dirty, nasty men. So I was dealing with MS-13 in the 90s and the late 80s. I don't fucking care what you think is a conspiracy theory. I go by fact, evidence, documentation. And I certainly don't believe the fucking scum that is attached to real human trafficking. So ask yourself, why are the states that have the highest amount of ODs, CPS fraud, Democratic fucking counties, and the whole state? More, I got nothing against gay people. Hear me very carefully. I don't like the LGBTQRST whatever agenda. I don't dig it at all. Because what it really is to get children. So fuck your little flag. See, I know what that flag really represents. Go back to the description of Lucifer. When God's describing him. And what he's made of. And what he looks like. And the stones they reference. There's your rainbow, baby. Blinded by the light. Her mom then met a new man who was physically, verbally abusive and made her life hell. Unable to cope, Johnson said she decided to move back to Oklahoma to live with her father, who set up a home with a new woman. But life was no easier there either. See, here's the thing. Everywhere you go, there you are. So maybe it's not the place that's the problem. It started with you. The one thing that kept Johnson going was her dream of becoming a fashion model. You know what they call fashion models in France? They're called mannequins. She began to save money, earned her way through babysitting for relatives so she could make a trip to New York to visit modeling agencies there. She recalls, I got there and went to several modeling agencies, but was told that I needed to put together a modeling portfolio before I would be considered. Some would even see me. At that point, my heart sank. I felt dejected. I then went to the Port Authority bus and coach terminal to make my way back home. This is where it really gets interesting. Pay attention, folks. There I met a woman on a bench who introduced herself to me as Tiffany. She was nice and told me about the parties and said that if I would join her at the parties, I would be introduced to people who could get me into modeling. She said she helped girls like me get to where they want to get. She also said I'd be paid. Johnson had claimed she encountered Trump at parties held by Jeffrey Epstein at his 71st Street townhouse in New York City. Epstein, pictured in 2008, was arrested in 2006 and accused of sexual abuse by 40 different women, with many alleging they were teenagers at the time. I have no doubt. Trump associates have in the past downplayed the relationship between him and Epstein, pictured earlier this year. Her account was that on the very first night she met Donald Trump, Tiffany said there was a party, and she took Johnson to meet Epstein at a mansion at 71st Street in Manhattan that had belonged to a retail magnate, Leslie X. Wexner of The Limited, and was turned over to Epstein. Johnson recalls that the house was filled with expensive things, in quotes, and she felt out of place. It is certainly true that Epstein held parties at the house and that he is a pedophile. In the course of DailyMail.com's investigation, we spoke to Tiffany, in quotes, who offered a similar account of events, but actual no evidence to back up her assertions. Tiffany also declined to provide her own true identity. In Johnson's version, she told DailyMail.com how Epstein asked her to strip down to her panties during an impromptu interview before requesting that she give him a massage. Seems to be corresponding with the other statements so far. Fueled by Tiffany's assertion that she would have to do certain things to make it as a professional model, she agreed, she claimed. Johnson claimed that even at that first meeting, Epstein tried to have sex with her, but she refused. He told her at the end, "You'll do, you've got the job." At that night at the party, which she says was filled with many young girls, she would meet Donald Trump, she claimed. Johnson acknowledges that she had no idea who Donald Trump was at the time. 1994. It's possible, but I seriously doubt it because he was like all over the place there too. But she claims she could never forget his face, and it was only years later when Trump starred in The Apprentice that she recognized the man she says sexually assaulted her. That may be the crucial flaw in her story. She claims the businessman who, in the summer of 1994, was 48, saw her and requested her company through Tiffany. She said he really didn't talk to me at all. He spoke at me, but was referring to Tiffany, more telling her what he wanted me to do. I thought he felt like he was too good to even speak to me. Seriously? This is a guy who talks to the friggin' cab drivers and the garbage men and the people, and let a homeless black woman live in his hotel for 8 years and had 3 meals a day delivered to her room with a bouquet of flowers. Get the fuck out of here. This is garbage. Tiffany told me what I needed to do. Anything he said to me wasn't that great, like you need some work. I was 13. I didn't know what I was doing. Johnson recalls how Tiffany explained how to sexually stimulate Trump. Tiffany explained it was like second nature, like I should have known what those things meant. This night, I was supposed to manually stimulate him, and I needed to use a glove for whatever reason, she said. She added, I did not know what she meant at first. I only had kissed a boy at that point. Right. You moved in with your dad. That didn't work out. You're acting out at home. So you go back to your mom's house. Or wait, you went to your mom in Cali, right? You and your mom, no, Washington. You went to Washington with your mother in 1994 at the height of the grunge movement, where Seattle market was filled with fucking predators, right? And then you started acting out in school because things started around 8 years old. So then you go to your mother's house, or your father's, who's got a new wife, who's not real happy with your attitude either. And you have this delusion that you're going to go be a model. You're just going to walk in and be a model. So you stick your little ass on a Greyhound bus and you get to the real world. And you find out real quick, not this bullshit. You may have been conned, but you were watching MTV. You knew what the fuck was going on. You may have been 13 in years, but I guarantee you were more like 17 or 18. You weren't some shiny new piece of fucking meat, man. This is bullshit. I know it. And people who can recognize truth will understand exactly what I'm talking about. I didn't know what to do. Tiffany, wanted to give me a crash course, the whole thing. I'm not wanting to do it. You're such a fucking lying skank. You are such a fucking lying piece of shit. You could have gotten over all of that stuff and moved on with your fucking life. But no, you're still under the mind control of a piece of shit elite pimp who got you. Don't know how, but they have all kinds of shit on you because, you were owned. You were owned. They got you to lie. But when you found out you could go to jail for lying and that you would be held liable for all the court costs if you went through with the suit, that's where the threats came in, because they threatened you with the truth. You want to play big girl games? Okay. We'll go to court. Because in this country, you are presumed innocent until the court proves you guilty. You can't have your cake and eat it too, people. You can't get the benefit of having your innocence defended and equal justice under the law for the guilty when you aren't playing by the law's rules. So when the law smacks you in the face with exactly what could happen to you for lying and trying to imprison an innocent man who was not proven guilty in a court of law yet, I don't care how many fucking pieces of paper you file, Well, you found out. Some people punch back a little harder. You put yourself in a situation because you were a little girl, a fractured little girl, and somebody took advantage of you, and then they owned you, and then they used you like a tool, and you're still being used because you don't look very fucking sober to me. You're a piece of shit. We'll go through the court documents if you want to. I think that would be fun.